The Rothschild family possesses one of the largest private fortunes in history. Starting in the 1700s and spanning until this very day, they own many companies and banks. They are one of, if not the most powerful families in history, able to buy politicians and stick a finger in the chest of the royal family. There was one man who dared to arrest one, and this is the story. Louis Nathaniel Rothschild, or Baron, was the head of the Rothschild Bank in Austria. Despite multiple warnings from family, friends, and authorities, he refused to leave the country. While he was waiting for a flight at the Aspern airport in Vienna, Austria, on what would be a routine day for him, he would be intercepted by two SA authorities. Rothschild would be held on charges related to his actions at the Credit Anstal Bank and its collapse in 1931.
The fall of Credit Anstal was one of the greatest financial disasters experienced in Europe. The Austrian bank, which had been founded in 1855, was considered for decades as one of the pillars of the Austrian banking system and even of Europe. The effects of its fall in 1931 could be felt worldwide. It was founded in Vienna by the very wealthy Rothschild dynasty and successfully became the largest bank of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It was tying its future to a practically insolvent entity. It became a bank weakened by toxic loans and barely had its own capital. A lack of capital that meant any small loss could cause the total decapitalization of the bank. But the executives were well aware of the situation of the bank being absorbed, as were all the entities that had refused to buy it. But from that very year, they falsified accounts to show profits that did not exist. In addition, the Great Depression hit the industry hard. They struggled desperately to recover the loans they had given to the factories. Many of those loans became completely uncollectible.
A newspaper reports, Baron Rothschild is being held on charges of having acted against the state's interest and having relations with circles hostile to the state. The Germans were alleging that the Rothschild was financially supporting these hostile agents. While he was imprisoned, Heinrich Himmler would visit him. Himmler demanded that the conditions he was held in be improved. The Rothschild archive states the following. While imprisoned, he was visited by Heinrich Himmler. Louis apparently impressed the SS leader, who subsequently ordered that Baron's prison conditions be improved, with better furniture and sanitation facilities. After Himmler's visit, Baron would be transferred to house arrest in Vienna's Hotel Metropole. Ex-King Edward of England and the Duke of Windsor pleaded with Adolf Hitler for the Rothschilds' release, to which they would receive a reply from Hitler saying, quote, regretting his inability to comply with the request. The Duke of Windsor also tried negotiating the release of other prominent Jews that were in custody. Baron would be held for weeks until his release in January of 1939. A quote-unquote ransom was placed on Baron. Some sources say it was 21 million, some say 10, and later reduced to 2.5. It's unknown if it was paid or the confiscated wealth was used for his release. The Germans would seize control of the bank. Baron Rothschild was stripped of his Austrian citizenship. He would flee Austria and never return. A newspaper article states, Baron Rothschild, looking aged and weak as a result of his detention by the Gestapo. They would continue. His hair, once dark brown, fringed at the temples with iron gray, had turned completely white. Those who came in contact with him said that he appeared to be mentally depressed. After his release, he would fly to Zurich and take a train to London. His associates declared he is set to take action against the Nazi government to get his confiscated wealth back. But the attempts would be futile, and the wealth would not be returned by the Germans.